All right, guys, welcome to today's podcast. This is Neil Colley, your host, and the Local Yokels Podcast. Thanks for joining us. And before we get started, I want to make sure I thank our sponsors today. Roofworks Roofing Company, owned by Randy Hendrickson, MSK. Thank you for sponsoring me and everything I do. You can reach those guys if you need anybody to come out and give you a quote on your roof, or maybe your insurance company is looking at replacing it due to the weather we have around here, or just some repairs. They're a great company, very dependable, and they do great craftsmanship. So reach them at 901-500-7235. And that's probably going to be Josh. So he'll be looking for your call. Hamilton Landscaping, Scott over there. He sprays your weeds, cuts grass. Man, I think he'll build you a porch if you want to. He's just one of those guys. But you can reach him at 662-420-6428. And as always, I always want to mention Feed My Lambs, because that is dear to my heart. It's kind of what I kind of focus my show on around and all that good stuff. But they always need some help. It's where we feed children on the weekends through a backpack ministry that they do over at Minor Memorial Church. And you can reach them at minormemorial.org/lambs or at 662-781-1333. And any kind of like sponsorship, if you want to give them like sponsor a child or just donate your time or a little bit of food, whatever, they can take it. I mean, they're happy to see it. So thank you guys for always supporting me and all the efforts that I do, and continue to watching and tuning in to the Local Yokels Podcast. But today, without further adu, I'm going to introduce two young men. I call them young men, but they're grown men. But a couple of local yokel knuckleheads, if you will, Mr. David Tyre and Cody Woods. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome, knuckleheads. Yeah. So, but anyway, I want to thank y'all for coming on today. We've been trying to get this together for a while, and David's been a little resistant because he didn't understand what was going to do. Busy.
Working.
Yeah, because you do work a lot. So first, we'll get into that first. We'll start off with David a little bit, because these guys are, I want to focus on their businesses. David runs DT's Mobile Service, and I want you to explain what DT's Mobile Service is, because I know what it is, but I want you to tell the people what you focus on and what your primary job is.
We work on heavy equipment, dozers, track hoes, skid steers, mini excavators, welding, fabrication. Pretty much, if you tear it up, we fix it.
And you go to them, which is awesome, because that's kind of where all of us got to know each other. So, and by the way, I want to say that I use you all the time, and you're very, very credible, do great work, great craftsmanship, and always take care of your business. If there's a problem, you get back and fix it. So, however, how long have you been in business? What you trying to do?
It's been about 5 years now. I've been working for myself.
Yeah.
So.
Well, now before that though,
I did it on the side.
Yeah, you did it on the side for a long time, because I've known you way longer than 5 years, and you were doing it the whole time. It just was a part-time venture.
Put my wife through nursing school twice.
Yeah.
So
don't say twice.
It was twice.
Yeah.
It was twice.
Why twice? Jessica's a wonderful lady. I know she's not.
I'd do it all over again.
She's special. Yeah.
Neil said you're special, not me.
No, Cody said it, and I just repeated it.
Well, that was the reason I started doing it on the side, and I started working on 18-wheelers, and I got tired of getting covered in grease, and I was like, well, I'd rather be covered in dirt.
Yeah,
dealing with equipment, out in the field doing something like that. Little did I know.
Yeah.
It is way worse.
Yeah, it's way worse, right?
And for somebody that hates being greasy, I picked a great profession to be in.
Yeah. So. Well, you do a good job at it. I know in the last few years, for sure, your focus has turned more towards the small stuff. Like, it's really hard to find people once these things get to a certain age, like the skid steers and the mini X's, the warranties wear off of them, and people are looking for somebody to work on them. And you've gotten more and more of that business in the last few years, because there's just umpteen people out there now, especially since COVID, that got these things due to all of a sudden they got to figure out a way to make a living, because they become essential employees if they could work in the construction business, and so I know that's turned up a lot for you, and so that is some of the most ridiculous stuff ever to try to work on, and I know that you have made a living literally just trying to help everybody keep theirs going.
It's something for sure.
Yeah. And so you do everything on those things.
Yeah, pretty much anything can be done to one.
Yeah.
Pull motors, swap them out.
Yeah, everything. And I can attest you're good at it. So I can see, I've seen you inside of them mostly, Nothing
but feet sticking up in there.
Right. So is there anything you don't fool with in your side of the world? Like, is there a particular things that like.
I try not to rebuild engines. I don't want to do anything that's going to hold me up for any
long period of time
because there's always something going on.
Yeah, you got a lot of customers, and they're always like, "Man, my track just slipped off, or AC went out, or my final drive, or whatever it is on this thing." So you got to be able to get this done quickly and get on to the next customer. Because, like I said, there's a lot of guys without like this small equipment moving, and even the excavators and dozers, they're usually broke down in the field. They got to get back on the job, so you got to get them up and going fast. Motor jobs take time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So,
like I did clutches and brakes and a dozer here not too long ago for a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
That was time consuming, but that's stuff like that I don't have any problem doing, but it gets into like doing end frames and stuff like that, rebuilding engines.
Well, then you need a lot of help too, and that's something where we'll get into that with Cody a little bit. We talk about how y'all are codependent, not only in your world of friendship, but in business as well. A lot of times you get to where you need each other, but both of you built your businesses to where it's hard for you to go help each other anymore. So you have to find help. Really. Yeah, it really is. So,
but if one of us needs help, the other one usually.
Yeah. But anyway, as we were talking about, you guys you built these businesses. You're the same age. You grew up together.
A month and a day apart.
Yeah. Yeah. And grandmothers next door to each other is kind of where that got started, right?
Yep.
Yeah. When we were young. Now we'll flash over to Cody and his business, which he owns, Delta Repair and Equipment.
Delta Equipment Repair.
Okay. Let me get that right. Delta Equipment Repair. And I'm going to tell you.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, go ahead and tell them.
Well, it's Delta Equipment Repair.
Okay. Yeah. And then like your focus on what you do. I know you do a lot of the big truck work, and you're working more on 18-wheelers and trailers and stuff like that, which David, obviously y'all cut your teeth on, but you went that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a background. Well, my dad had a tree business when I was a kid, so I learned tearing stuff apart and putting garbage back together to make it to the next day.
Story of our lives, all of us, right? Like we all started out with just junk. I still got some junk, by the way.
Me too. Started out with it. Here we are.
Here we are. Yeah.
But I started working for a trucking company here in Memphis and stayed there for 10.5 years until I decided to go full time.
Yeah, and do your own thing.
Yeah.
It's a big jump. I know I talked to both of you during these phases when y'all were making those leaps, and I remember how scary it was a little bit, because it was like, yeah, man, like I've been doing okay on the side, but this is dangerous. Like I'm risking everything, which with entrepreneurship, it's just that way. That's how I got started in life. And I never had a fear factor though. Like but when you got kids, you should be a little nervous, and a wife. And I just didn't, man. I was just like, I don't know. I'll just try it. You know what I mean? Like, but I know that goes through a lot of people's heads, because I just had this confidence, like, well, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
That's kind of how this went.
Yeah.
And we decided to do it like right after COVID.
Yeah.
So that was really like, what are y'all thinking?
Yeah. Like it's slow right now. Yeah. So
Actually, you were my very first customer.
That's weird, isn't it?
Me and Brian did your third member, your drive shaft and your dump truck in the dirt field on Goodman Road.
Yeah, let me mention that. I was going to mention that today. My good friend, Danny Holden, I want to mention him. Hope you're doing good, Danny. I hadn't talked to you in a while. Danny just recently lost his pops. I'm sorry to hear that. But we were working together, and this has been well over a decade ago. It had to have been. Like, I don't even know what year it was, but I had been over on Goodman Road, DeSoto County, in my rear end. I was stuck, and I had broke my rear end.
Yep.
Yeah, on the drive line. And Danny was at a gas station somewhere that morning on the way to work, and he met you just at the pumps or something. And he's like, man, my friend's looking for somebody right now to go work on his stuff in the dirt. Like, it's in the mud, actually. It was kind of that's why I was stuck. I broke my rear end. And that's how I met you, was Danny gave me your phone number.
Yep.
And from there, we just started clicking. Mm-hmm. And then you fixed me up. And then a couple of weeks later, sometimes things happen. There was a little setback, and it wasn't nothing major. I was working.
Forget to put an axle seal on it, and it was leaking.
Well, I think the bolts had backed off or something a little bit. It was just like I had been working a little bit, and so I was down south of Hernando somewhere working with our good friend Bubba Wilson. I'll never forget this, because he's the one that spotted it. He said, man, you're leaking out your axle. And I'm like, well, I can get it out of here. So I called Cody. He's like, man, I'm tied up on a job. My buddy David don't live far from you. Yep. Boom, there's insert David in my life. You know what I mean? So it's just real weird how this happens. And then I introduced David to Bubba. who lives across the street from David's sister, ironically enough. It's just a small world. Yeah. And so this is how this thing works. Like, and we, just kind of, and we're all, tied in together that way. And then, of course, little by little, you're working in the truck stuff. You were still working more so with Old Dominion. I remember who you was working for. And then David was closer to my house. It was like he was a little more free to help me sometimes when I need things. And
back then, anyway.
Yeah, back then, yeah. And now it's switched over where Cody's like the truck guy. So, but now I will say this: whenever I have a problem, both of you are coming.
Yeah.
Now it don't even matter. Like David's like, "Is Cody on his way yet?" I'm like, "Well, he says he is." "Well, I'm on my way. We're gonna get it fixed." You know. So I do want to thank both of you for being so loyal to me. Y'all are great friends of mine. I know you're both almost young enough to be my children. Not quite. Unless I lived in Mississippi, Arkansas, you could definitely be my children. Yeah. So, yeah. But however, I've watched both of you grow. You've both developed successful businesses, and by nature of just who you are, you're honorable young men, and you do a great job, and you try to do for a fair wage. You always treat me fair, and I know you treat me fairer than you should sometimes, and I appreciate that. But
that's what friends are for.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
One hand washes the other.
Yeah, but with Cody, I know that you took it to a whole nother level. Me and David kind of like, old equipment's good for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not trying to go out, but Cody steps out there and gets some new equipment, which I know at times is scary. That part's scary. Yeah. But you got to have it because you're having to really get out there sometimes a little further than maybe he and I do.
Yeah, my whole thing is to grow. My end goal is to be a name brand national account from like what Tag is.
Sure.
That's my end goal. And man, I'm going to tell you, it is a struggle bus right now to just grow and to get money coming in.
Sure.
You've had that conversation.
Yeah. But it's a domino effect. Like if they don't pay you in a timely fashion, your big accounts, and that stuff, and I think sometimes they play a game. I've learned that from the corporate world. If they're a corporate company, they just slow it down because it allows them to operate off your money, and it's like a free loan to them. So they just do that to you, and they don't realize they're killing you, And so I understand that struggle, and I know that David and I have talked about that too, and we work with more individuals on a basis. So we don't we still have some of those folks, but not near as bad.
Yeah, buddy.
Not near as bad as you do because you're working for some big companies sometimes, and they stack a bill pretty high, and you're buying parts and labor, like all that stuff, and you got some employees that help you. And David, a little bit different than me because we're in a different business, but like it's similar because he's dealing with an individual that's kind of like, he knows how far to go with them, what he can trust them to do, what their pocketbook might allow, and then he'll go have a conversation like, "Hey, man, you can't do that with Old Dominion, No. So you have to wait your turn pretty much, and that's kind of difficult, but you're doing well, and I know that surviving it, and I got, luckily this little network, I got you involved with Randy a couple of years ago.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Wintertime comes around.
He's got guys coming out to my house this coming week to look at my roof, see about replacing it.
Mine too, by the way. Yeah, mine too. I've been having a heck of a time. Yeah.
Appreciate that, Mr. Randy.
Yeah, Mr. Randy. He's a good egg, dude. So, Randy Hitcherson of Roof Works. Yeah, and by the way, he sponsors a lot of what I do, but he also created this network to where y'all get involved doing some snow removal. Y'all get involved with that during the winter time, and that's a blessing for us around here when there's nothing going on. And but, for the most part, you're hanging it out there off the interstate sometimes at midnight. Me and David are not doing that.
I try not to do that as much anymore.
Yeah, I know, but like it's part of why you got to have newer, very dependable, up to the snuff stuff. Like it really is important.
I'm actually wanting to get another truck now.
Yeah,
but the prices on trucks right now are ridiculous. Yeah, it would pay for itself if you could find somebody dependable.
Yeah.
Because
that's the whole struggle in any business, finding somebody good to help you.
I'm blessed right now to have taught my son what to do for Old Dominion.
Give him a shout out.
Cooper, just my youngest. Yeah. My youngest, basically stepson.
Yeah.
He's my son basically, but he graduated early in December. He's worked part-time with me in the summer and doing, when we were doing poop ponds and stuff, cleaning ponds, and just he's always wanted to work. And so he graduated in December and wanted to go full-time, and he's been a blessing for us because he's there every day.
Yeah, and then on top of that, like he's young and able and can get around and crawl around underneath everything. Because look, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I can't do what y'all do no more. Like
Me neither.
Yeah, I mean, I know it gets harder as you get older, and y'all are creeping on 40. I don't want to tell how old you are, but you definitely are.
Turned 37 last week.
I know. So I remember when you were in your young 20s, and I was like, dude, them guys are like getting after it, man. Like I ain't no way I get down in that mud and dirt. And it's like 110 outside. Yeah. I was probably y'all's age when I met you.
Yeah.
That's probably about when I met y'all.
I try to avoid them situations if at all possible anymore.
Yeah, but you got to go do it. You know?
I know.
I mean, I can remember a lot of times laying on my back in the ice and trying to put on a leveling kit on my 18-wheeler or something,
Grabbing the exhaust pipe just to warm your fingers up.
Something. I'm just like, oh my goodness, why didn't I hire somebody to do this? Why didn't I call David or Cody?
Yeah. He's been a blessing. He's not where I want him to be, but he's 18.
Sure.
And he works.
You didn't know that at 18 either.
No,
but he is very well mannered. He'll do what you ask of him, and he has no problem asking for help if he don't know what he's doing.
There's some things that I'm like, Jesus Christ, boy, what are you doing? But
that's just the father-son relationship, Like me and my dad, I remember, like, he was my best friend, but that dude would throw a hammer at me in a second, and it really didn't care if it hurt me until afterwards. It would be like, well, I'm glad it didn't hit you in the head, But I mean, that's just the father-son dynamic,
Yeah. He's definitely a blessing. Like today, I took off today and was kind of not feeling great, just under the weather kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're helping your mom.
And he was out working, and, so it's great both ways. So.
Absolutely. And you're trying to grow that, too. I know that at times, like, you're trying to add on another quality individual. If they're looking for a good job, give them your number real quick so they can reach out. Because I will say Cody pays top-notch money to his employees. I know you try to do them good. If they earn it, they get it.
$10 an hour, baby. All day long.
That is not true, by the way. I know better than that.
No, our number is 662-784-9388.
And you can also reach you at Cody at DeltaEquipRepair.com.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to shoot him an email, like with a little resume, I think he's rather get you in the infancy of your learning career a little bit sometimes, so he can teach you how he likes to see it done, like what you did with Cooper.
Yep.
The right ways, in your way anyway, the right ways.
Start from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes that's easier. Especially because the way, like, our huge customer is Old Dominion. That I worked with them for 10 and a half years, and then went full-time in this business and then become a vendor for them.
Yeah.
And they're very particular on how they do things.
Sure.
Things that you wouldn't do normally to make sense.
Yeah.
But that's how they
But it works for them.
And it works.
Yeah.
And they are a company that makes money every month.
And they're a big company.
So it's easier for me to say, hey, this is how you do it. I don't care how you think you want to do it.
Yeah.
But this is how they're going to do it, and this is the only way we're going to do it. And to get old heads coming in, that's kind of,
it's hard to break a habit.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And it was the same way for me. I mean, I grew up that way, working, with junk, and this knucklehead, we would tear stuff up and fix it with junk.
Yeah.
They don't.
Hey,
they don't do junk repairs. Hey,
well, I mean,
they're wiring duct tape has gotten us.
They're an international company, man. The Old Dominion's big.
Yeah, they don't cut corners whatsoever.
No, they want it done right because for one thing, they're looking to get the ultimate value of, or the mileage out of the vehicle. They don't want any breakdowns out there because that's money, so they'll spend it on the yard before they leave in order to get it done right. You know, and that's a great thing about working for a big organization like that. But the bad thing is sometimes you got to wait on your money.
Oh yeah,
because you're just a vendor. One of thousands. So, but they do pay, and they pay good, and they keep you going. And
they definitely are a blessing.
Yeah, and so even if you had a guy that was like probably a few years in, has a little bit of knowledge, you're still looking for that guy.
Yeah.
Or if you got an old head, as you call it, that's got 10, 15 years, 20 years, you could still use him.
Oh, absolutely.
And you'll pay him well. I do know that. I don't want to call your number out, but I know it's better than competitive.
Yeah.
I do know that because the guy you had before you that left and did his own thing or whatever, I don't know if you could have done him any better. Like, it was hard when he left. He
taught me a lot.
He did. Yeah, he really did. So you learn how not to do things and then how to do things better as employers. I had to learn that. It's like your kids, everybody's an individual. You got 2 kids. You want to give them a little shout out, David?
I got a son, Colton. He's 15, and my daughter, Aubrey. She's 10.
Yeah.
And
a beautiful wife, Jessica.
A beautiful wife.
Smoke show.
She's probably my
she's
my
a
most
sister to me.
kid.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law's child.
Yeah. That's right.
But
Just a great family.
Couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, and we're going to turn this talk from work into some family stuff because, I mean, pretty much what y'all do is basic. We both know you're great people and you do great work, and we've talked about that. But
half of us are anyway.
Yeah, half of us. Yeah. No, I'm just
no elbow.
Yeah, no elbows. But I don't want to get into the family dynamics and how y'all are tied so closely together. You know, we talked about your grandmothers being next door to each other, and that's how you met at a young age. How old were y'all?
1 or 2.
1 or 2. It was really young.
Actually, we actually
on T-bone.
When I was born was in Lakeview Trailer Park over there.
Yeah,
and y'all
I was too.
2 or 3 trailers down.
That's over in my neck of the woods. Yeah. So Walls, born and bred right here, baby. Hey, you know what? Y'all share something. You lived in the same trailer park as Bruno, downtown Bruno, my buddy, and
I saw that today.
The Rock
Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson lived in that same trailer park. And guys, it's not a big trailer park. Yeah. As you can tell by the lagoon aroma when you pull through there. So, however, so y'all started out in Lakeview, and look where you're at now. Both beautiful homes, beautiful families. You know, you've made it in a great way.
Ooh, definitely been a struggle. I promise.
You're working on a big. You got a plan on a barn dominium. You told me. Yeah.
Well, we've actually gotten away from that.
Oh, how? You got to turn the corner since we talked.
Again. My mom built a house not far from here, just right off of the square in Hernando.
Yeah.
And I like the house. My wife likes the house.
Yeah.
So we're just going to build that house now.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, depends on what happens with my father-in-law.
Well, that's true. I know we all have different things going on in our lives, and there's a lot of things at times, like my mother passed away, and I wound up with a house.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with it. So you just don't know, which we've thought about moving in it. Who knows? But ultimately, you just got to figure out what works best for you and your family.
Yeah.
You know, so you and your wife will figure that out. You know, you want to give her a little shout out?
Shelly Reeves.
Shelly.
Well, she's
your wife, dude.
Yeah, we've been together 16 years. Might as well be married.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Why ain't you married?
Because I'm a knucklehead.
Yeah, that's right. But you got a couple of young men that came with her, and that you've raised as your own.
I've raised them since they were 3 and 4.
Yeah.
4 and 2.
Yeah, so
Cooper, his very first words to me, he was in his diaper, and I was up there, just met his mom.
Yeah.
He come out of the bedroom in his little underwear. And
were you eating or drinking his sippy, like his juice box?
Probably was. His first words were, "Get out of my house." I should have took his advice and just left.
No, it was the best decision you ever made.
It was.
Like, dude, let's share this juice box.
yeah, she is 11 years older than me.
Yeah,
that's that.
Yeah, I know, but you know,
I keep her young.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So, but anyway, and then of course you have another child.
We have a daughter together, Macy. She's 14, just turned 14 2 weeks ago, and then I have another son, Macon. I don't get to see him much.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still your boy. It'll take it from me. That'll all come full circle. David knows my oldest son, Tyler, who was in a similar scenario where the mom kind of held him against me and stuff, you know. And I tell you right now, man, I couldn't be more proud of the relationship we have to this day.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, and David knows him quite well. And I wished you had got to know him before he moved, because he relocated to Wyoming. You guys would have hit it off. I mean, you totally would, because it's the same mindset.
Go and go hunting with him.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm okay
for
with
sure.
that.
He's going to love that. By the way, I don't know if I told y'all this, but this dude, you know, he's like a badass welder and pipe fitter and really TIG specialist. But he's gotten out there now, and his friend is a highway patrolman. And out there, that's a whole other kind of business job. You know what I mean? Like, you're by yourself in the middle of nowhere for miles and miles. I'm talking like really a long ways. And so, yeah, Tyler's turning into, he's going to highway patrolman. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So he's giving up the welding?
Well, I mean, I think for now, like, he's thinking about it. Yeah.
Whatever.
They don't
makes
make
him
as
happy.
much money, though.
Oh, yeah.
Do they?
Oh, yeah. There they do.
Okay.
They used to not.
Yeah.
When I first got out of school, I was thinking about being a cop, you know, when I was young, and I was going to go to the
Me
academy
too.
and all that stuff, you know, and then the highway patrolmen were paying like $10 an hour. And this was like 1991. I'm like, I think I'll just stay where I'm at and just think about being that. They didn't get appreciation, but now they do, because they understand the importance, and they couldn't recruit them without it, because that's a very difficult job out there. You might be the only guy on that whole stretch of 200 miles of a road, that has to go. It's definitely a difficult process.
It's kind of like Alaska out there. It's beautiful country.
Oh, yeah. But you can be alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then on top of that, if you got to run crazy mile per hour to get to a scene of a wreck or something like that, and it's dangerous, because the high winds will take your car off the road. I mean, there's been a lot of them had accidents through the years that way. I can remember that happened back in the 80s. They had those souped up Mustang LXs and Camaros when they came out, and those things were hot, bro. I mean, those things would run. But they had to get places quickly. Yeah. So that was the importance of those vehicles. But they'd take flight. They had to get rid of the Mustangs because those things were so light and they go so fast, the wind would get them and just basically throw them off the highway.
Or hit a moose or elk or whatever.
There's no surviving that.
No, like cow.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's listening's ever seen those things in real life. That is not your local whitetail deer.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Their calf is bigger than our local whitetail deer. So
almost as big as David.
Yeah, it is. Almost as big as David.
PG-13.
So anyway, let's get back to grit and raised in Lakeview, and obviously y'all grew up together, started riding bikes together.
Man, we've grown up hunting, fishing, mud riding.
Our grandmothers lived next door to each other. And then I moved off, so we didn't really reconnect until
probably 13 or 14.
Yeah, about 14.
At the perfect age of knuckleheadedness.
That's exactly what it was. I was riding a moped that I had come back from South Carolina from, and they wanted to ride it, and that's how we started back talking.
Right.
Him and Jesse had just gotten together.
Right.
Amy and his sister and his now wife jumped on my moped and drove all the way around Twin Lakes.
Tell them where they went.
Oh, wow.
That's just kind of how we hit it off, and we've been tied up ever since.
Yeah, it's amazing how the world works. I live in that community, and I know those places you're talking about, and how that was such a lot of people grew up in that Twin Lakes area that I know. It's like
it's rough now.
It's rough now, and
it wasn't the best back then.
But that's what we grew up in.
Well, that was the best you had. Yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, it's a little rough now. There's still some people that are older living there that's holding it down. But
my dad still lives there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so without that, you're not the men you are today.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it took all that tomfoolery going on, and just almost getting killed every day, probably.
Man,
because I grew up that way too. But I'm surprised I'm still here. I'm really surprised sometimes I'm here when I think back on. Yeah, right. So, but obviously you grow up, you're teenagers, you get involved in different things, and then 38 years later, you're still fooling around. You know what I mean? And still
we work together. Different jobs.
Yeah.
Like I said, hunted, fished, and any kind of trouble you can get into, we've done it. So,
look, I want to tell a couple of stories about both of you real quick, so that the audience understands how passionate and absolutely addicted to hunting and fishing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So back about it's probably been 7-8 years ago now, maybe a little longer. One of David's good friends leases some land behind where I live. He's on the phone with me, and he said, I'm actually headed over by your house to go hunting this deer season.
Yeah.
And he goes,
I don't get them invites too.
You don't get them anymore, yeah. So, but anyway, my son Tyler was out there, not on their lease land, but next to it, next to the neighborhood, and he's down there hunting in a ditch or something, and I was like, well, Tyler's out there, and David's like, well, I'm just pulling up, and all of a sudden I hear boom, 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 and I'm like, Jesus, David, what's going on? Man, I just I pulled up and 3 deer sitting right here by my pickup. I just laid them all 3 down.
No, only 1 deer.
Okay, yeah.
We killed whatever the legal limit was.
It was the legal limit, yeah. So Tyler's over there, and so I called Tyler in the woods, and I'm like, David's a couple of 100 yards over there. Go help him get those deer out of the woods. And
Tyler killed the second.
Yeah, Tyler killed the second.
Good shot, Tyler.
Yeah, great shot. Oh, yeah, let me just reaffirm that. It was not David. The booms I was hearing was from Tyler and his friend.
Yeah, that's right.
There may be what do you call it, a statute of limitations on that. I don't know
about that.
It was years ago.
I'm just making that story up, by the way. This just don't even, that was just allegedly this took place. Yeah.
We fed the needy with them, by the way.
Yeah, we did. We donated them.
We really do.
Yeah, absolutely we do. And that's another thing I was going to talk about with you guys. So, but with that being said, and I know there's 100 other stories, and we'll get into that a little bit too. But then I'm talking to Cody last week. Cody's over at Old Dominion. And he
loves giving out my stuff, man.
Yeah, and I love it because it cracks me up when I'm thinking about these guys are dedicated and hardworking, but they can be so distracted
It don't take a lot.
With a turkey feather.
I mean, you let one gobble right now.
Yeah. So
Gots to go.
Yeah, gots to go. And so I'm talking to Cody, and I'm like, "What are you doing? You busy?" He goes, "Well, I'm supposed to be, Neil, but I've been chasing this turkey out here behind Old Dominion for like 6 hours."
A Houdini. Yeah, he was in a ditch and just disappeared.
Yeah, and then like you spent the rest of your day trying to find him, and I'm like. And it was his birthday.
Yeah.
That was what was even more impressive. Like, his wife's mad at him because he didn't get home on time because he spent half his day.
Yep.
Oh, I know. I had to take the shotgun.
Yeah.
I got all the way over there, got my shotgun in the truck, and then I'm like, oh, man, my daggum choke ain't in the truck. So I had to drive back to David's to get a gun.
Oh, my gosh, man. It's just nuts. Like, the stories, I'm just like, man, they will do anything to hunt or fish. That's how it is. So, but you're not unlike a lot of young guys in the South, you know, but y'all are ate up with it for sure.
We're highly addicted to every bit of hunting.
Yeah.
Just to get the time to do it
nowadays
would be the
is
hardest
tough.
thing.
Yeah,
ever.
nowadays is tough. You know, it really is because both your businesses require a lot of time.
More than
I was telling Cody before he started working for himself. I was like, man, you can make your own schedule.
Yeah.
And then we both get full-fledged into it. And I'm like, man, I didn't mean to lie to you.
Yeah,
100% lied to me.
Yeah, like this
100%.
year, and I always call on both of you guys. Like, y'all know I'm a giver at heart. So, like, I'll have a couple of friends that are dear to me that maybe can't hunt, but they love deer meat or whatever the case may be, and I'll reach out to you. And David will even he'll put one down somewhere and be like, "Hey, man, I got you, buddy, a deer." And I was like, "Well, take it over to Daniel Kilsey over at High Cotton Meats, and then they'll process it, and then they'll give me a super good deal on processing it, and then we'll gift it to the family or whoever the person is." So y'all both know that need, and I know that my guy's after you for the hog. Like, you know, he's always after Cody for the hog, but you do a lot of that stuff, and it's because you're out there and you're like, okay, I've got my freezer full and I'm looking for a rack, and you take your time. So you're just not like laying down everything, and you're trying to teach your kid how to be, I guess a good citizen in the woods or whatever the case may be with y'all. And I know I watched this year you posted where your daughter killed her first deer, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, on his property. Yeah. But, it's not all about rack hunting.
No.
Obviously that's what gets your blood pumping. No doubt. I know this. But we know the best meat comes from, the does and, whatever. And so, I tell you what I need. We get it done, and Daniel and those guys down at High Cotton Meats gets it served for him. So we actually help a lot of folks that way.
This year we didn't get to help that many. We stayed busy all year.
Well, when I talked to you like in early December, I was like, man, I need you to, and then to do this. And he's like, Neil, I hadn't even been hunting myself yet. And that was blowing my mind.
It was busy.
Yeah.
This whole winter, like normally we're dead, I am dead during the winter because nobody's doing dirt work or anything else.
Yeah.
So I normally take off for all deer season. Didn't have
snow happened. We had a good snow this year, so we were busy for 2 weeks.
During the snow, when you could have been hunting. Yeah, because that was the last of the deer season, right?
And then everybody that had machines out working was breaking stuff down.
Yeah.
So it was snow plus we get to work on stuff.
Absolutely. So, but I know that like what I want to, kind of get across to people is they do work hard and play hard. Obviously, 4-wheel drives. I know I send stuff to David all the time. He's
thanks for cutting me out, Neil.
Well, I don't think you have the affinity for the square body Chevy like David does.
Yes, I do.
He wants to be like me. He just hadn't.
I can't cross that bridge yet.
Yeah, okay.
Because once I do, I'll be
crazy.
Stupid.
It'll be stupid, right? That's why I kind of keep myself.
Have you seen my yard?
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife's ready to scout me.
I know it. You probably got a good project truck for me and Randy over there.
No, we don't.
No, he's got one for you.
Stay out of my
Stay out of your car.
Neil, you're getting on my bad list.
I know it. We're looking for the next build, and I was telling David,
you better not even bring it up.
So we get the so I'll send him pictures of like this beautiful like 85 Chevy or something, square body, jacked up to the max, and he's like, man, you got to stop doing that. It's like worse than porn.
I'm telling you, and they're addictive. Like once you start working on one, you're like, I could do this and add all this to it.
Yeah.
Now my son's getting to where he's fixing to get his license. So, Dad, which one of the trucks I get to drive?
Yeah. Which one am I going to work on? Yeah. By the way, David, actually, my daughter's first vehicle I bought from David. It was a Ram. It was a good truck.
No, I know.
Yeah, do you remember that? It was a Ram 1500. You call me and you're like, hey, man, I just bought this truck.
I don't remember where that truck come from.
You had a buddy that was hard up for some cash, and I think you just bought it from him.
That silver one?
Yeah.
That big 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, the big 4-wheel drive. Son, you want to talk about a 16-year-old girl's dream come true?
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
like 3/4 ton dyno. It drank fuel.
Oh my God! But dude, she was styling and profiling with them big 35s on it or whatever she had, and then she got T-boned right there at Lake Cormorant, where the 61 highway and Lake Cormorant. Or Star Landing Cross right there. Going to school one morning. Yeah. Totaled the truck.
Man, there's been a bunch of bad wrecks over there.
Oh man, there've been some bad ones, man. But she loved that truck.
Like she wasn't in a little car.
Man, it's true, man. That lady hit her going fast, but luckily they survived it without a little bit of injury. But yeah, man, that was where her first truck came from. So.
And I didn't even remember it. And I've had so many cars and trucks.
I know it.
It's
right.
Yeah.
Me and Tyler showed up down at your house and got it. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah. So we came and I was like, it's pretty good. And Tyler's like, she's gonna love this, So, because he said I would have loved it when I was 16, but he didn't get that. He got like a 2-wheel drive, like a '83 Dodge long bed or something.
Mine was a $250 pickup truck that I did enough horse trade, and I wound up with something that actually run and drove.
Right. So she was a little bit spoiled on that. But however, I know y'all do a lot of the vehicle stuff. Not only, you're just good old Southern boys, that love all that good stuff, Yeah. And I appreciate your efforts. But however, I will say they will drop their gun and come help you fix your equipment when you're broke down. That's their focus. So
try to.
Yeah, you try to. Yeah. You got a new shop, by the way. Tell people where it's located at.
There's no address to it yet. It's off of Highway 3. It's right across from the landfill. It's just over the Tunica.
The Southern Line.
Yeah. It's right there past Ricky Matthews.
Yeah, Straight Horn Trucking. All those guys. They built you a new facility down there, which is really nice. I've been by it a few times. I haven't been able to come in yet because I've been going somewhere.
It's not where it needs to be.
But I mean, it's a good place for you to work on equipment. So if like you guys are listening and have like, I don't care if it's 18-wheeler or whatever, get it down there, have it towed down there. They got plenty of space, and they'll get it turned around quick. They got a good, clean shop. It's ready to roll. So, and it's right across from the Tunica landfill, just so people know where that's at. Yeah. Highway 3 in Tunica County. Yep. All right. Now, with that, David, you're still working at your place.
I am for the time being. I'm planning on moving in a shop June, July-ish.
Yeah,
We're waiting on it. So.
Yeah. Where's that going to be at, you think?
301 processing, high cotton.
You're gonna be right there.
Meats,
okay.
Down there with Daniel Kelsey and them.
You're gonna work in there. You did tell me that you're gonna go in where the old cooped up place was.
That's the game plan as of right now.
Yeah, that'd be great, man.
So
yeah, you can turn around and sponsor my show out of that place.
Exactly.
I've been trying to get Daniel on here. Them guys, man, they're into everything.
Oh yes,
man, they are literally into everything.
That's how you make money.
Yeah, but that's how you die from working yourself to death too.
I was actually at Applebee's yesterday doing some welding for Daniel on one of his lawn trucks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they do that, and then his brother-in-law Tim, and then Scotty Jameson. They're all brother-in-laws. I think they married sisters. Is how that all kind of worked out. Like they're each married to a sister out of this family. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Tim set me straight on that. I was doing some work because they bought a new warehouse, and it was a trampoline gymnastics place, and they're having to fill in all the floor, like the pits.
Yeah.
So I was hauling dirt to them over there, and I was talking to Tim about that. Man, they are always doing something down, with the honey. And they got some good honey. I don't know if you've had any of that stuff, but it's amazing. Yeah, you need to get some. Yeah, go by and get some. Heck, it's on the way to your house. I don't know why you just don't stop in there and say, like, give me a jar of that honey. Yeah.
I actually don't know him.
You don't?
I
don't
know
Daniel?
him at all.
Well, then we got to fix that.
Introduced him to him.
Yeah, I may have originally.
I'm the outcast, if you haven't noticed.
Well, I don't know if did I get you involved with Daniel?
No, I met Daniel through church.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and then it turns out we just all knew each other, but I can't remember sometimes how the connections are made. But Daniel came in, he's another great guy like y'all that came into my life and helps me do this, whatever. But I helped them. They let me do all their hauling and stuff, so it's a good relationship we have, and they help me with my program. Yeah. So it's cool. But as we go forward in life, I mean, I know that the stories of the hunting and the fishing and the family dynamics of teaching your kids how to do, good conservative hunting as well. Like, don't just kill to kill. No. Always have a purpose for that, That's right. And then fishing season right now. Y'all been doing any slab work?
Everybody's
I've been trying to chase a turkey.
Yeah,
trying to chase a turkey.
It's turkey and crappie season right now. Like, that's definitely the two things that's on people's minds.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Yeah.
It's on my mind.
Yeah, they messed up your fishing spot.
Yeah,
when they got down Arca Butler Lake.
And still catch some fish in it. Yeah.
Well, they got to be condensed now with all the water being low. So
there was a big kill off, but there's a lot of fish still in there.
Yeah, because it's not all completely dry.
No, you can go from the spillway to 51 Landing.
Yeah.
You just got to know
how to do it.
To go.
Yeah. But I know that the crappie. I grew up on a lake in Alabama called the crappie capital of the world. Crappie. I call it the crappie capital of the world. Wise Lake. Yeah. That's what I grew up on. Didn't even know really that I had a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, no. You never do till you go.
No, it's a beautiful place, and I still go back there, and it is one of the most beautiful places ever when you go there and see it. But like, I didn't know I was living in the land of crappie. You know what I mean? Like, we catch them, but like it just, it's just so normal to us, And
when they drained Archibald, they took some of the biggest crappie that I'm gonna say Mississippi's got.
Yeah, they're massive slabs, man.
Oh man,
they wasn't known for a lot of crappie like Grenada and all that.
Yeah.
But the size limit is
3-pound crappie up here wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
That's regular.
So now that they're pretty much Sardis, Enid, and Grenada, I don't know how they're set up. I don't do much fishing these days, but
I hadn't done it.
Yeah.
I hadn't been down there fishing in years.
Yeah, Grenada, I know they're real. It's more of a shallow lake, so that they got more crappie, like a lot of them. Yeah.
I'm sure I've always heard Grenada slap full of them.
Yeah,
the backwaters are.
Yeah, the backwaters are for sure, and I'm sure Sardis is too on their backwater side.
We used to go down there and do a bunch of wading, crappie fishing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
When we were younger and had time.
When you had time,
man,
you get older, and then hopefully when you get to be about my age, you'll get some more time.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm breaking my back every day. So when my brother tells me all the time, you work too much, you don't enjoy nothing. I enjoy working.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah,
it's an outlet for me. I can just dive off into it. But when I get your age, when I get Methuselah comes out and all that, but when I get that age, I want to be able to go travel. That's my end goal.
Sure.
Is break my back now, and Lord willing, I have opportunity. I'm going to travel.
Yeah, that's your. Hey, look, man, you got to have goals in life, And I've never been a goal oriented guy. I just kind of like live day to day, and I kind of like just try to do the right thing by people. It's kind of my focus, I know I'll never be rich. I just kind of like I'm rich in people.
That's right.
And so I kind of see things like that, how I can help others. But like, if you got a goal to retire early or young, I probably have to work till I'm dead, whatever the age that is.
That's probably what'll happen to me.
Yeah.
But that's my goal.
But here's the thing: you got to set goals, especially with your loved ones, like your wife or and be like, hey, we're going to take this trip or whatever, and my wife kind of travels way more than I mean, I don't go anywhere.
Well, now I'm going to have to, but my wife sets my goals for me.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it would work, David, other than I'm not controllable like that. Like she can make a plan, but I'm not sure I'll be there, like
that's about how mine works.
But I want her to be able to do it and have a good life, so like she'll shoot most of her traveling is just to go see family and spend time with them, and that's really important. But, like we didn't grow up around here, like, so we don't have any family. Of course, my mom passed and then my son moved right after that. It's like my little group's getting smaller and smaller, as they were growing, it started shrinking. So you have a lot of that around here, and I know that y'all try to take advantage of that. It can get tiresome at times with family being just right up on you, for sure. But don't take it for granted, because it will end at some time, even the father and mother-in-laws who at times can be difficult, man. I miss mine so much, because they were just essential in raising my grandkids. They were there for them. And even though we didn't always see eye to eye, they had a great hand in raising some good kids. That's the way I looked at it,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't guess you could get your in-laws to live any closer than what mine do.
Yours are in your back door. Yeah.
Mine are, I'm thankful for both of them.
Well, you're close with yours.
Kids,
yeah.
They're there to take care of them, do whatever we need to do. If me and Jessica's gone to work, hey, y'all mind getting one of them off the bus or at school or whatever?
Yeah.
So,
well, you got a real good family dynamic over there, and probably a lot of that goes back to you, David, and just how you handle yourself with them. Because I know I met your father-in-law a few times, and he's an amazing dude. And
good as gold.
He really is. And I know Jessica loves her daddy and mama both. And but I know y'all been going through a struggle with him. He's been sick. But it's there again. You got to value all that.
Oh yeah.
When you got them in your life and your kids have grown up and they're right there in the back door and they've always got that family dynamic just within reach. You may have not have grown up that way.
Well, most of my family's gone.
Yeah.
I got my dad still here. I've got a sister that's here.
Yeah.
But that's about all family here that I've got.
Yeah.
And I might see them once a month.
Right. Just not as close as you'd want to be.
Well, I mean, we got my adopted family.
Yeah. You got Cody, man.
We couldn't be
Especially
any
like
more
on
family
Sundays
than
when we do
anything.
Yeah.
cookouts and stuff. We definitely got family that shows up.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
gonna come eat.
Yeah, you're gonna show up for the.
I'm gonna show
You're gonna
up.
show up for the chicken, man. You're gonna show up for it. So, same way with you. You know, I know that you got your mom and dad around here and stuff, and your brother and whatnot. But like, as we grow older and we get our own families, sometimes we get distance from that a little bit. So, not as close as you'd like to be sometimes. And we.
Everybody's got their own thing to do.
Yeah, and I can remember having to live with my parents for a while till we built a new place when we first moved here and reestablished ourselves. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here, man. Like, God, I need my own space. And we did. But looking back on it, that was a central time in my life. Like that time we spent with them was great for my kids. And then, you know, and then ultimately for us too, you know, I know I learned real quick, like, I don't ever want to live with my mom and dad again. Like, yeah, they had their own ways. They were not being retrained, and nor were they training me. You know, like I done got out on my own and had to go back. That's the worst, you know. Yeah. But sometimes it happens like that in life, you know.
It does.
And with the family, I know especially now, David knew my mom a little bit just from being around me, but, you know, I'm missing her a lot. You know, she was a big part of the community where we lived and impacted so many people. And, you know, those phone calls that come in, you're like, yeah, what's up? Again? You know, I would give anything for one of those crazy phone calls right now. You know, I really would. So don't take it for granted. If anybody's listening out there, man, I know it's trying sometimes dealing with your parents, but, you know, I may even be that guy to my kids, to be honest with you. I don't know, but I'm trying not to be. Yeah, maybe. And I don't know your daughter as well as I know your boy, but he's amazing. And he just started doing some TikToks. I get tickled at him because he's a TikTok. Yeah. I
hadn't seen any of those.
They're doing some pretty wild TikToks.
I try not to see him.
Yeah. But he's cracking me up. Them dudes, they're characters within themselves.
He is a goof troop.
He really is.
He's a good kid. I couldn't ask for no better out of either one of my kids.
Oh, man. Yeah. And I know for sure I spent a little time with him last year. I came over and we spent like an hour out by the fire. Nobody was at home. I was just waiting on you to get back or something. And I was getting some straps. Yeah. And I was just like, man, this guy's like really got it going on for 14 or whatever he was at the time. I was like, I wished I was so available for my view of the world at that time. He was really checked in, you know. I
don't tell him very often, but he's a lot smarter than most. Give him credit.
Well, you're proud of him.
Oh, I am. Ain't no doubt in my mind.
Kid.
Yeah.
He's a smart mouth to me, but I'm his uncle.
Yeah. But it's fun to smart mouth you.
Yeah.
He smarts mouth Daddy. It's going to be a hand.
You know.
I don't know.
I don't know. He's stout.
Yeah.
We do wrestle.
Stout.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's wiry. I seen that in him. He's definitely built for.
He's built like Hangman. But
he's
strong.
Yeah, very strong.
He's got that. Country strength.
Yeah, it's not natural strength. Yeah, I was kind of like that growing up as a kid too. Yeah, just a real big version.
He's in football and he fishes and hunts.
Yeah,
and now he's wanting to get into wrestling. So
yeah, my son Tyre, by the way, was a big wrestler in high school. He was really good, and that's something that's not big around here in these areas. So getting into wrestling, I wish they had that here because man, I'm telling you, when them guys go through those programs, those guys turn into really strong individuals.
This is going to be through the school out there at Lewisburg.
They're going to do it. Mm-hmm. They're actually going to start a program.
Yep.
That's good,
they
man.
They got a program already.
Oh, do they? Yeah, that was something in the South I wasn't used to. I moved up north when I was in high school, and they had wrestling teams, and all those guys were just like ultra fit. Their minds were different. Like they put, man, that is some of the hardest training you can ever do in your life is wrestling.
Yeah, I am fit.
You wouldn't have that, dude. Like I
am fit.
You're fit for sure, but if you wrestle,
shape.
round is a perfect
shape.
Yeah. I've lost a few pounds. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit, but certainly that's a hard sport. It really is, and it's so like it's a team sport, but like you're the only one out there. You know what I mean? Like, and that guy's trying to choke you to death or put you in a hold to make you submit. That's very humbling, by the way, and it teaches humility and it teaches strength. And I never wrestled, but I had, like I said, Tyler, my oldest son. He was great. I mean, he was winning all kinds of tournaments, and he'd wrestle his weight class, and he'd wrestle heavy weights. I mean, he was all over the board because he was strong and he was big, you know, it does something to the mentality of some of my good friends. I had a guy named Jay Dexter I grew up with, and if you're watching Jay, hello to you, my friend, that I grew up with, and he was a state champion level wrestler and Iron Core, and I could go on and on about the guys that it made unique individuals that wrestling did. And I didn't understand at the time why they were so different, but it was because of wrestling, because I played football. we weren't the same.
No.
Yeah, them guys are going
completely different.
It's different, man. It is a different kind of training, and those coaches are different too, by the way, that teach that. So you would think, like, man, please don't do that to my son. You know what I mean? But he needs it. If he's going to be successful in that, they got to go through it.
He's still in football because he decided to stay with football to do the conditioning, stay working out and all that. But he's just now getting into this. He's got buddies that are in the wrestling. He's wanting to get into it, but he's also got girlfriends and hunting and fishing and everything.
Yeah, he'll
else.
make time. He'll make time.
Yeah.
The football was good, but man, like I said, we were wimps compared to those wrestlers, man. And the guys that did both, they were just badass at everything. You know what I mean? Like, I can think back to it to this day. Some of those guys that did all that sports stuff, they were amazing.
I've seen them get hit, and they just shake it off and keep on going. Yeah. You hit me like that?
Yeah. Oh man,
pulling a pistol out.
Oh yeah, pulling a pistol out. That's for sure. So yeah,
Mark McGuire.
Baseball bat, something, man. We're doing it, but so yeah, that's what I was trying to get into is like how our families really impact. You always want your kids to do better than you had. Yeah. That's kind of the goal in life. It was going to be really hard for me. I felt like I had this great upbringing, and then I look back on it. It probably wasn't so great to some people, but I didn't know no better. Yeah. You just know what you were involved,
That's right.
Looking back now, you might go like, dang, boy, we was poor, or something like that. But you didn't know it at the time. No. As a little kid, you just, you might have thought, man, David's got some slick new Nikes on, or
Nikes,
or whatever. I mean, boots, boots, whatever it was. But in reality, it wasn't that difference in how you're living. It is, maybe you had somebody in your life that thought of you to give you something, and maybe you were like, dang, man, you can wear them tomorrow. You know what I mean? That's probably how y'all were living, sharing clothing. Yeah,
I didn't grow up like we live in a trailer park, another trailer park, DeSoto Woods trailer park. That's where I grew up the majority of my life.
Yeah.
But we were never, looking back, I was like, oh man, we're rich.
Yeah.
We wasn't rich after I thought about it.
Yeah.
We always had dirt bikes and four-wheelers and go-karts. That were cool.
Yeah.
But they were like 1970s, 1980s.
We didn't know no different.
Yeah, it was fun
before you ride.
So I didn't have a bad growing up.
No, I didn't either. I look back at it like one of my friends one time I grew up with in Alabama, and we talked about that kind of status. And we lived in an old home. My grandparents, it was like, that house had been 100-year old, but it had been updated a few times, so it's kind of fairly modern, but not comparative to my friends, and he said something to me, and I always think it's weird how he mentioned it to me because I didn't see myself like that. But he said, well, y'all just, you were kind of poor. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I said, I ain't sure I think that way. I said, first of all, where'd you eat the best food you ever had in your life? Your house?
Yeah.
He goes, who usually had the best clothes on of anybody you knew? You and your brother. I said, who was never on free lunch? You. So what it was, we just didn't live this wild, lavish lifestyle. But we had everything. I had the go-karts and the dirt bikes and stuff. Is what it was. The people I lived with, they understand the value of a dollar, so they weren't trying to. If they bought a car, they were trying to pay cash.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And if it was new, they would save till they got it. That was just a different way of living. I'm that way now with my life.
I wish I was that way.
Well, dude, you took a step out. All right, so you would be if you hadn't took that step up to try to get the new stuff, and stuff. But it's hard to get there. Even at my age, there's times, like. The cash flow ain't good in the business. People holding out on you. You got to be conservative. You got to learn how to manage your money in business. That's just the way it works. But looking back on it, man, these people were from the Depression that was raising me. So, like, if you got it put on your plate, you was eating it.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you've seen how big I got. So,
Fried potatoes every day.
Yeah. And I love them to this day.
Too.
Yeah.
Too.
I could take me some good old homemade biscuits and fried potatoes. That's a meal.
You can't find nobody make homemade biscuits
no you can't do it. Yeah, you can't do it. So I know a couple of ladies and my friend Jerry. Y'all both know Jerry Mask. And his wife's amazing cook. She can cook some badass cornbread, dude. Miss Loretta. Miss Loretta. She is badass at that, man. She can cook it almost good as my grandma. Yeah, like... Yeah,
my wife's a pretty good cook. That's why I'm so dang fat. But it's
she's just trying to keep you off the market, dude.
I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Good food, all that good stuff is important, But yeah, like the country cooking. I don't think we was poor, man. We just, like when it came time to get cars, we had cars. Yep. But my dad now, this guy was he was a pretty much like just a tenant farmer when they grew up. They lived on the man's land. They produced what they produced. They got a little share of it. Sharecropping. That's what it was. So from where they came from to where me and my brother got in life, I'd say things got pretty good pretty quick. Like in my opinion, it took like 3 generations. But, for us our kids to outdo where we came from, it's going to be tough. You got to really spoil them almost,
Well,
yeah.
I try not to spoil my kids, but for anyone to think that they're not spoiled would be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, but you're doing good things with them. Like, I know, like Jessica, she's crazy about animals, right? So, horses, rabbits.
She loves Oak.
She loves what?
Oak.
The horse. Yeah. And you were like saying it's your horse, right? I remember you were.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was. So now it's her horse.
I just needed a place to park it for a little while.
Yeah, and you got it at
and
your
it's still there.
Yeah. What's it cost you a month to upkeep the horse?
I don't even.
Him nothing. Jesse a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. She's got him on some kind of fancy diet.
Oh my God.
Weight builder and.
Is he not a good horse when he's not a jerk?
When he's not a jerk.
When he's not a jerk.
And he's sleeping.
That
Great.
Yeah.
Look, I hadn't been on horses in a long, long time. We grew up having horses when we were 15.
Right.
We were dumb having horses.
Right.
Well, I got this wild hair that I was going to have a horse.
Recently.
And he had recently.
Yeah, this is like 6 months ago, right?
And he had a place to keep it.
Yeah,
So,
perfect place.
I'm terrified of horses.
Yeah.
Well, I get on it, and he knocks me in the face a couple times, and I was like, I got real scared. But then I got angry one night from work or something, and I got on him at dark and run him down the driveway. And I was like, oh, okay, we're good. So me and Jesse went riding one day.
Jessica, by the way. Yeah.
We went riding and had fun. Next day, I go get on him by myself, and it's nice, cool morning, evening. And I make him walk through a deep ditch, and as soon as he gets to the top of that hill, it's just a big green pasture.
Yeah.
He took off.
Yeah.
And it was either fall off or hang on.
Yeah.
And I was screaming. Trying to sit back in the saddle. He didn't care until he run out of steam. Thank God he had been in the barn a lot. He didn't have a whole lot to go.
Yeah.
I got off that jugger and I was wobbly leg. I made him walk all the way back. He scared me to death.
So you didn't get back on him?
I got on him a couple times, but it was...
Yeah, right. So is Jessica riding him?
Oh, yes.
So, like, he don't do that to her?
No. She can get up on him and...
Let me tell you why, okay? Because they can sense your nervousness.
That's very true.
And they know right away, like, this dude, something's going to happen to one of us. Like, they're immediately... Plus, your big butt got on him.
No doubt.
And he was probably like, what the hell?
She can get on him bareback with no reins and just kick him, and he'll go wherever. She walks him down the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I get on him, and that jugger's like, oh, okay, let's figure it out, big boy.
How am I going to hurt you today?
Yeah.
But he loves Jessica. That's the thing.
And the kids. My son will get on him, no saddle, he'd ride it, walk him around the yard.
Yeah.
His buddy will jump on the back with him. They'll ride.
Well, part of that's like the nervousness and the fear they sense.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it definitely is. So if you're not good with them, you don't need to have one.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's probably a good place it's at.
It's wise to be somewhat scared of them, because if you get too brave, you like.
Oh yeah, well I think you got to know your animal. So like when you get, it's like a dog. Like when you first get a dog, you got to learn that trust and stuff. Especially if they're not a puppy, But like same thing, they sense the nervousness too. And
he's a good horse. He's definitely worth what he was given for him. And, I enjoyed what little bit of time I had him.
Yeah.
And my wife is obsessed with him.
I can see you having multiples.
Oh, yes. Yeah. If I said something about bringing another truck to the house, she would threaten a divorce. But she can bring all the animals over there she wants.
Yeah.
Jesse, I found another one I can bring to you.
So she was real big into rabbits one time. Huh?
You still got that attorney's number that just left?
Miss Melissa DeBar. So he I think while I was over there one time, she was going through a big rabbit phase. Yeah, like she had a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah.
And the neighbors had them.
Yeah, they were all over the place. And then like they got to where she just kind of turned them loose, right?
We had 4 or 5 of them that she kept in cages.
These were like big rabbits. They were like meat rabbits.
Lion headed.
Yeah.
Like they had birth certificates.
Yeah.
I feel bad because they're stuck in a cage. That's no way to live. So she turned them out.
Yeah.
And then we went from 4 or 5 rabbits to I'm going to say close to 100 or so.
They're
the
running
neighbors are like, where did all these black and white and brown and all these different rabbits come from?
Pedigree rabbits, by the way.
Good, though.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
And now all the hawks and coyotes and everything else are eating good.
Oh, my goodness. So they are getting taken care of little by little, unfortunately. So,
Let nature do its thing.
Well, it is a cycle. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I don't.
Typically, their prey doesn't have birth certificates.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I know you do the chickens and you got the eggs and like y'all got a little farm going over there.
We had the horses.
So I told Jessica, I was like, if you want to get another horse, you got to get rid of some chickens. So we got
some
rid of
chickens or all chickens.
She got rid of.
Next day, horses was there. Chickens was gone.
Oh wow!
And now we're spending $8 for a dozen eggs. And I'm like,
when you had them for free. Yeah. Like, man, what did I do? Like, not only am I feeding this monster every day of a special diet,
He is on a special diet.
Yeah, he's probably spending $50 a day in food or something. So, but you know what? It makes her happy. Yeah. It makes the kids happy. You probably get a little joy out of it too, just the calmness of the whole situation, and they get to enjoy it. And
whatever they're into, it makes me happy.
Yeah, so it's good. I think horses are good therapy for people too. They talk about how with people with addiction issues do well with it, people with different types of mental things, especially kids. There's something to that.
Well, my wife works for St. Jude. Mm-hmm. She's a nurse for them. And so all the stuff that she sees dealing with that every day, then she comes home to her horse.
Yeah.
She'll stay out there with it.
It helps her. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be in the house starving to death, and she's out there just petting on him.
So you're saying you're lacking in food, which
he ain't lacking. Look at that.
I know. Hey, David has slimmed down though.
Yes.
Yeah, he's slimmed down a bunch.
Hey, I was 307 and I got to 350 or 255.
We're talking about me, not you.
Shut up.
Yeah, you've lost a lot. Yeah. We all have, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was up to like...
Yeah, gonna work. What does it?
Stress. Stress.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be stressed, man. I ain't gonna let you.
Neil, I got gray hair.
Dude, I'm talking like in the last year, my hair has literally turned colors, like in my head. Like,
that must suck for y'all.
It does, man. And yours is so young. My wife's like you. Like, she was early when hers silvered out. But
man, I got a head full. That's the only reason I go get haircuts, because I get tired of looking at it. I look like I'm 60.
Yeah,
he ain't a fish no more. He's a newspaper.
Man. He's a newspaper now.
It's black and white.
So, but mine has started transition last year, and I was like, dang, what's happening to me? My wife even pointed it out, and I was like, I guess it's just that time in my life,
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously I've had some things happen in the year, but I don't look at it like stress, it's just life, but I always just try to keep good folks like y'all in my life. I know we don't always, used to be, you're like, what does he want? I hope nothing's broke. But now it's like I'm calling to check on you. Yeah, like it's...
I see you all the time going down the road.
Yeah, you called me the other day. You're like, boy, you ain't supposed to be talking on that phone, and that's probably what I was doing, and met you somewhere on Highway 305 over there
and
somewhere.
304 the day before.
And then David seen me like last week way out east of town. It was way out there. Yeah. So we're all just all over the place working. And
never fails.
Yeah, and so, we check on each other. How's business going? How's the family doing? And that's friendship to me, and I value both of you in my life, by the way.
Likewise.
It's become more than a business deal. I want to promote y'all and see you do good, and I know y'all pass people off to me, and that's the way it's supposed to work. You help me with my program when you can, and with my Feed My Lamb stuff. I'm going to try to do more of that. I know now that that we're building, Randy and I are getting into building vehicles to help more than just this program. This is the first one, but we'll be looking going forward as things go on for help on those and ideas and sponsors and things like that. It just happens to be, but it's a good way to impact the community. Y'all do it in your own way, through your hunting stuff. You'll give away a lot of food to needy people, and then like Daniel and them down at High Cotton Meats, they help with that as well. They have a lot of people that donate deer. Mm-hmm. Maybe they shot the biggest deer they've ever had in their life, but they don't want the meat. They just want to keep the head. And so that gets into that donation-based stuff, so they'll go and process it and then give it to a local charity of some kind that needs to feed people, and I don't know what all he does, but I know he does that. And, I've even have David do that, and it'd be late at night, and he'd be like, man, I got one, but they're closed or whatever. Send the guy down here. I'll help him, and they'll clean it right there and get it all set up for him. You've done that for David, my little buddy, David Triplett.
Oh, yes. Is that the guy that gets the hogs? Is that?
Yeah.
He's funny.
That dude, take anything.
He's funny.
Like, I think my other friend, Brett Keogh, his son and him, or his sons, but man, they love to hunt and hog hunt and all that stuff. And he'll get over and he's like, man, I want all that neck meats and, and I want the ribs. It was like, Brett be like, there ain't no meat on there. No, there's flavor in them things, man. There's something left on there. And I don't know how he does it, but he makes meals out of that stuff. But, he grew up down in like Indianola. So like he's down there when they used to, you heard them, they'd be sticking their big foot in that stuff, you know what I mean?
What gets me is the hog balls.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, he eats a snout, everything. That's crazy, man. And I even like...
I guess I ain't been broke enough.
No.
I ain't been poor, but I ain't been that broke.
Man, I don't know. Like, to me, like, when you go in the stores and you see the pickled pig's feet, I can't do it, bro.
I can't. My father-in-law eat all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know where it comes from. Pig ears, hog snout.
Pickled sausage, I can deal with it. Pickled eggs,
I can't do any of it, man. I just can't do it.
I just can't. You know what they step in. I raised a couple pigs, and I promise you, that is some of the nastiest crap.
Oh, my goodness, man. But, man, a bacon for them and sausage, they're delicious.
It's great.
Can't beat it. Country ham. But we don't see the process, So I always say when I was in high school out west, I went to Cheyenne. I lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming is where I lived, and our ag department. I was in ag class out there just because I was here. I was in ag and FFA, Future Farmers of America type thing. They'd take us on these little tours, and you'd see some of those processing plants. They're not, you don't want to eat after that. Like you'll lay off of any kind of meats after you see that stuff, man. So, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting the lives we all live. And like I said today, it was kind of just like bringing, y'all's two crazy worlds together and seeing how you meet and letting how you've lived your lives kind of like side by side, and like you've never ventured too far apart. You're always close in proximity to each other, family, friends, and even your wives are, incorporated in your idiocy, if I will. I want to thank both of y'all, by the way, for putting up with it. So
I definitely appreciate mine.
Mine's a great woman.
Yeah. Like this, they just know, like, he's gonna mess it up. I just have to be here to hold him when he gets home.
I've been with mine since I was 15, and I don't know what in the world she sees in me, but
she's hanging in there, man.
Lord only knows how grateful I am for her.
Yeah. She's definitely special. Not in a bad way either. Yeah, she's special. Yeah. She's special. Good.
Great lady.
Yeah.
She holds
By the way,
for sure.
I know she goes through phases. Like I'll see her sometimes. Like she was big into chicken eggs. She was trying to give them to the community. I remember she had like an egg box out for your house, and that did good for a while. And then people take, don't put back, that kind of thing. But then she got into bread baking.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
she's still doing the bread. Yeah, I was looking forward to some bread. Is she still doing that?
Well, she does it every now and again, but shit ain't.
It's not the passion it was. It took a lot of her building. Yeah,
you
right.
Show up on a diet and you just ruin your diet.
Oh, you just ruin everything you show up over there, man. And plus, on top of that, she is fit.
Yeah,
she's not even a big lady. If I cook like she did, she's like in good shape. Yeah.
I promise you, I have some of the stuff that she makes me eat. Yeah. I'm like, I can just go get a cheeseburger from McDonald's, babe. Yeah. Come on. I don't want a pita pocket with peanut butter in it or nothing like that.
The Mexican house is right down the road from his house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What is it called?
El Cate.
Oh man, we all got a Mexican restaurant close to our house.
That's like I can throw a rock and hit it.
Yeah, it's one of those things like I don't know what they're doing.
It's
dangerously close.
It's too dangerous. Yeah. Big town of Cochran. Yeah, Cochran. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, the big town of Cochran. They're growing. Yeah. They've got a Dollar General now.
And a liquor store.
The two most essential things you need in your community. Yeah, which by the way, and a new gas station. Yeah. That used to be a nursery. I think.
They're fixing to open another new one up. They got across the street from the one that's there now.
Well, the cool thing about Mississippi is we have a lot of trees, right? So you can literally be within 10,000 people and not know it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you'll be driving by and not realizing there's a whole neighborhood of folks over there that's just not accounted for, So there's a reason why that guy's trying to build a gas. You're thinking, why do we need two? Well, that one's slap busy every day. That's why. All day, every day. And you're trying to figure out where they're all coming from. And what it is, it's a big, like a community that's, maybe 10 miles square, and there's just a lot of people spread out through it, and they all need these places to go to. So it's kind of good they finally got some stuff.
They just opened a Domino's Pizza in Byhalia, which is probably 10, 12 minutes from the house.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've had Domino's Pizza in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Because nobody would deliver pizza to us.
Yeah. Y'all live out in the country now.
Yeah, so it's...
not as much as you think, because you originally, when you moved, how long have you been over there now?
A little over 5 years.
Yeah, because when y'all lived, you lived on my side of the world back then, over on 301. There wasn't much out there either. But they've built some stuff since then too over there.
Everything is growing.
But you moved out that way to get away from the little bit of growth you had down there, and it was a nicer home, and and your own land and stuff. And I knew
looking for the school district for the kids and all that, so we got what we wanted.
And then the building started happening.
Yeah, and then everybody else decided they wanted it too.
Yeah, right after COVID, it just started coming towards you.
That stuff has grown a lot.
And it has.
Property values out there.
Stupid.
Crazy.
Yeah, stupid. And it's just people moving from out of the state, like they're coming from California, Michigan, everywhere down here, and these look like good deals. And it's just making it real unaffordable for the local folks. Yep. It used to be if you paid $100 a square foot for a house,
you had a nice house.
Real nice house.
Yeah.
And like you were like, dang, I don't even know if I can afford that. Now it's 200 plus in some cases, So like it's hard, especially on the new build, And then the property, you got to buy it. So, 50,000 an acre sometimes in DeSoto County, which I know may be not good. I mean, I don't know where people are listening from. I think most of it's local, but I don't know. Sometimes you get a reach that's out there. That may not be bad in your neighborhood, but that's really bad here. Oh, yeah, it's really bad. I mean, it's horrible.
And, there's nothing that stays for sale very long.
No,
I mean, it gets bought up left and right. I don't see how people, like we've got one neighborhood down there that the houses are starting at the low $450,000 range.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what everybody does.
That's a normal house now. That's
and you're like,
cookie cutter house.
And you're like, you realize you're in Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's people moving out of state in here that's buying those. And it takes two people making money to do it. It takes, they probably have sold something somewhere that was probably a quarter of the size that cost twice as much. And they're finally coming here realizing these are great values.
Oh, yeah.
Cheaper cost of living. We're seeing a lot of that, and that's where a lot of our growth's coming in. We think it's bad here, but if you go to other places like Texas had that problem, Tennessee's having that problem, especially around Nashville and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Knoxville, places like that. The growth is coming from those big cities to where it already happened to them. That inflation, out of control, crazy stuff where you're paying $1 million for a 2-bedroom flat, that's already happened 20, 30, 40 years ago in California, So they're selling out now, and they're coming here realizing, man, dang, I can retire on part of the money I get and then still have this mansion, so you're building big houses, and they're beautiful places because we have a lot of rolling hills here, and it's beautiful land.
Not a bad place to live.
Not a bad place to live at all. If you can deal with the heat in the summer, you can live here.
The humidity. We can deal with the heat.
The humidity's the problem.
And the mosquitoes that pull your sock down.
Yeah, and the skeeters. Yeah, the skeeters are pretty bad. But out west, when I first moved out to Wyoming in '88, I believe it was, they didn't have many mosquitoes. They got them now.
Do they?
Yeah, they got them now.
Let's see, I was born new. That was a long time
was
ago.
it?
88.
That ain't a lie. That's a lie.
No.
Same.
Well, I was like 15, just to be clear. So
you were old.
Yeah, I'm old enough to be those daddies. I'm telling you, man. For real. Yeah. You can say it.
My dad had his first kid at 15.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Thanks, Daddy.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, my God. How old is he now?
I don't know. I don't talk to him.
You don't talk to him much?
No.
Yeah, well, that'll come back around, too. Leave your heart open for it, Cody.
Maybe.
Yeah, man, because at the end of the day, you only got one mom and dad. Yeah. But now, if you've been wronged enough and you feel like it, you can live with it. You know what I mean?
I don't like talking about people that can't defend themselves.
Sure.
He's always been the person that, as long as you're doing something for you, he's got a conditional love.
Yeah,
that's the best way.
Okay, I got you.
As long as you're doing something for him,
so it's conditional.
He loves you to death.
Yeah.
The second that it doesn't fit his motto, it's you're a piece of crap, yada yada, and then I just it's a lot easier
okay.
not
So
to deal with that.
here's what I will say in life, and that may still come back around to you eventually. He might wake up one morning and go, "Hey, I value my relationship with my boys beyond whatever else they can do." Maybe close to death for him. Who knows? But just leave that door open.
He has. He's tried, and every time I open it back up, and I'm like,
you learn a lesson.
Yeah, and
because you're desperate for the relationship.
Desperate, not no more.
Now,
it's bad to say.
It changes when you get your own kids and family and all that.
Well, because you understand. That's what I was going to say was we have this. We learn what not to do. From our parents sometimes.
Now,
as much as we learn what to do in certain things, we learn also not what to do when it comes to raising our children, and how we love them, and how we tell them we love them. Yeah, and an unconditional.
I fall short of that.
Right. So you learned from him, but what not to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I will give him this. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a choice to be lazy when we were kids.
Yeah.
We did tree work. David worked with him.
Yeah.
There was no, you're not going to work.
Yeah.
You are getting your ass up,
Yeah.
going to work. We're cutting trees until I say we're done.
Yeah.
So he instilled that into me.
Yeah, your work ethic.
To where I work, and it's what I do. I enjoy for the most part.
Yeah.
I enjoy.
Yeah.
There's some days that I'm like,
man, I think that's
put
just
me
what
out
all
my
of us.
misery.
Yeah.
But I enjoy what I do. And the opening up the shop is
Sure.
going to open us up to some more stuff that I hope leads to more.
Yeah.
So far it has. It's slow getting started, getting it opened.
Yeah.
But as far as my dad goes, every time we try to rekindle or get back to something happens.
Yeah.
And it's just the feelings have hardened up enough to where I don't lose sleep.
Yeah.
I would like to have that,
Yeah.
but now I'm just like, it is what it is.
Right, and there's also that way you talk to each other stuff.
Yeah.
I had to learn that the hard way.
It's not all him, it's me too.
Yeah. Like we both got these flash tempers.
Yeah, that's me.
You ever seen the two cats? Like I know David does. You got off social media, and the two cats, and it's like these two guys, Arab guys. It sounds like they're talking like cats, and they're going, "F you, no, F you," and they're slapping each other. That's kind of like parents. Two daddies or a daddy and a son are very much like that. Sometimes if they're too much alike.
We are exactly alike.
Yeah, and I remember I was telling you.
We think alike.
So remember when I was telling you about my daddy throwing a hammer at me? Well, we got to a point in life, we literally 5 minutes later, we're on the road to go to lunch somewhere, and it's over. Like we don't bring it up again, and we're talking. It's like, "Oh, you ready to go to lunch?" "Yeah, I'm good." Like we had to learn to get there. But it took maturity on both our parts to get there. And so I can see you got to have the right people in the mindset of things,
See, that's crazy because me and my dad wasn't, I ain't going to say we wasn't ever like that. I wasn't scared of my dad. My mom?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody in this room better be scared of her.
Yeah.
I'd be scared if she come back now.
I've seen her throw a brick and knock a grown man out.
Yeah, she just ruthless.
Because he hollered at her.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
You talk about your dad throwing her hammer at you.
Yeah.
I run my dad's tree business at 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
That was where I went to work because I was out of school. I got kicked out at 16 because I was a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Went and lived with him for a little while. And then went and lived in a studio apartment until I turned 18 to get an actual apartment.
Right.
But my dad, I'll never forget this. I was in his bucket truck, 60 foot in the air, and he was trying to get me to drop these little twigs on this side of the fence. Where I was at, I couldn't drop them on that side of the fence.
Right.
And he gets to yelling and screaming. And I'm like, "What do you want me to do?" We're on the job looking unprofessional. He thinks he's going to grab this boom of this bucket truck and go, "Ah!"
And just shake you.
Shake me I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
It's just,
he's lucky he didn't throw you out of it.
Come to think of it, that bucket, he probably could have took you out of it.
Yeah.
Because it was only holding by about half of the bolts it was supposed to.
The only time David has ever threatened to harm me, and I actually thought he meant it.
Yeah.
I meant it.
We were at there's a college up there just south of Poplar. I can't remember, right there at 240 and Poplar, just south of it. I can't remember what the road
Christian
is. Christian Brothers.
Yeah.
We were doing a job over there. Me and David's 18, 17. My dad leaves to go get lunch or go get parts or go do something, and we had to finish up some stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, "David, get in the bucket. I need some help." He knew I was full of crap.
Yeah.
Well, I finally talked him into getting into this bucket.
Yeah.
I get it about 10 foot off the ground, and David's like, he grabs a hold to the side of it and he's like, "Put me down." I'm like,
Scared of heights.
"No, you're good." So I just keep going.
Yeah.
He said, "I swear to God, Cody, you better put me on the ground." He's sitting there, he's turning white. So then all of a sudden, my dad's bucket truck, if you dropped the handle, it would drop out from under your feet.
Oh, wow.
Me and David ain't the smallest people in the world.
Never were.
So I would drop it and then pull it up.
Yeah.
He turned white as that light up there.
Well,
and wouldn't let go of the grip and said, "Cody, I swear to God, if you don't put me on the ground, I'm going to hit you in your face." I had to play with him for just a minute, but then I was like, "He going to hit me in the face."
Exactly. You probably was going to.
I kid you not when I tell you this. So the bucket has a plate that bolts the bucket to the arm.
We had trash. Remember, we grew up in a trailer.
Yeah,
park.
we're
Now,
trash. We're
there's
trash
500
equipment.
pounds of
Yeah.
us up there.
Yeah.
and this thing is literally broke halfway down the fiberglass and halfway across the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And we're 60 foot up in there, and Cody's wanting to play.
His 60 foot is 15.
Might as well have been 100, right?
Guess who got put back on the ground?
Yeah, real quickly. Yeah, real quickly. So
that's the only time David has ever threatened me, and I was like, he may actually.
I think he's going to hurt me.
Second time was when he brought the horse to my house.
Yeah, that was recently.
Real recent.
Yeah, you're going to have to chip in for the old Oaks feed.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I told him I would bring him back to the house occasionally. But
yeah.
I don't think Jesse's going to let that happen.
She's in love, man.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I mean, and I'm sure your daughter's in love and your son's in love.
See, it's a deal. I had Jesse give me $1.
Yeah.
So she paid for Oaks.
She paid for the Oaks.
So it's
I had to give her the $1.
She did.
She makes her own money, David.
Well, I walked in and said, Jesse, I need $1. She's like, why? And I was like, give me $1, shut up.
Yeah.
Dave was like, here, give him $1. So he shut up.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to give it back to you.
Yeah.
But give it to these babies. She gave me $1. Said, there's Oak's payment. You own Oak.
You now officially own Oak. So he didn't come with no paperwork or nothing.
Nah, I just told.
He's a good horse.
He is.
How old is the horse?
They said he was 10, I think.
That means he's 22.
Yeah. We did have some work done on him. We had his teeth floated, and he needed a little tune-up when we first got him.
Yeah.
I think they said he was like 18, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
I figured
18.
You can always add the years to it. Yeah, it's like I got a dog recently. They're like, he's only a year old. He's just a puppy. I'm not so sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's maybe a little older than that. But yeah, man, pets. I mean, animals in general can change your life. Like, like especially you were talking about with Jesse being able to go home. I say Jessica. I'm sorry, Jesse. I guess I called you both, but when she comes home, but it's a way for her to let go of all the things that she's seen for the day.
It's like a coping mechanism, I guess you'd call it.
Well, it relaxes her, like whatever the case may be. It's like this place of zen she gets to, and it's able to relax.
I go to the woods. She goes to the barn.
Yeah, that's her thing, and your kids.
We go to the woods.
Yeah.
You ain't taking me turkey hunting yet.
Yeah.
You're a piece of crap. I just want that to be known.
Didn't I bring you a gun so you could chase a turkey the other day?
You didn't take me to the woods.
He didn't invite me.
Have y'all got any turkeys yet?
Nope.
No.
Ain't hardly had a chance.
I got one on my phone.
Yeah.
I hit one with my truck last year. I don't even hunt. And I hit my brakes trying not to hit him because I knew they're big birds, and knocked one of my reel fins off of my eagle.
Cooper.
Yeah.
My son Cooper was going to work one day. Yeah. I don't remember why I wasn't at work, but he called me.
We were probably hunting.
Probably. He called me, and you could hear the scared, pissed off in his voice. He's like, I hit a fucking turkey. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, I was like, what'd you just say? He's like, I hit a turkey and it broke the windshield. And I went, what? So then he FaceTimed me, and I swear to God, it was like Home Alone whenever he was tarred and feathered, and he had the feathers all over his face. I FaceTimed him, and I was like, what the world?
Oh, man, they'll tear you stuff up.
The turkey came through the windshield.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. It just got all over him, hit him in the head. And everything.
Man! Luckily, the bird itself didn't come. I mean, the bird came through the windshield, but it didn't come all the way. Like I guess the body of it did. But there was feathers, everything in the truck.
In your new Dodge.
In my new Dodge. He was like, "Are you mad at me?" I was like, "Did you mean to hit the turkey, boy?"
I don't think you can purposely hit a turkey or a deer. By the way.
So he had a vendetta against some turkeys. So he wants to kill every turkey he sees.
Oh man,
now.
That turkey run off too, didn't it? Like it didn't.
No, it was dead on side.
I was thinking it flew off or something.
No, mine's the one that flew off. It knocked my. I was afraid it would hit my radiator.
Oh, man.
That's what I was worried about on my big truck because they're tough, but they ain't that tough.
Yeah.
And so I threw the. I was going to go back and get it because my buddy Brett, who likes to hunt, turkey hunt, he's like, man, go back and get that thing. Throw it in the truck. That's good. I'm like, I'm not taking that thing with me the rest of the day.
That's exactly what he wanted to do.
Yeah. So, turns out, though, it limped over and probably died from some kind of internal injuries.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, it was gone like an hour later. I don't know what got it, if a dog got it or something.
That don't take long.
No, something got it. Yeah, but he was a big one. You know, he definitely was a big one. So to do that damage, you know, I mean, it takes a lot to knock something off a truck.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, but to go through your windshield, man, he was probably
went through.
How fast was he going? Just regular speeds?
Yeah, I mean, he's not a speeder. He gets paid by the hour, so he's going to drive.
Yeah, he's slow rolling. Yeah. And I wasn't even going that fast, by the way. I was like maybe 25 or 30, and I jammed on the brakes, downshifted, but it was just too late for him.
He was interstate speed. I mean, he's probably 67.
But that's a pretty hard lick, man.
Oh, yeah.
Golly, man.
When I FaceTimed him, he had guts and feathers everywhere. I was like,
that should have been like a TikTok special right there. That'd been viral, man.
It was nasty, man. The inside of that truck was horrible.
Oh, did you have to have it professionally cleaned?
No, we didn't.
No, he made him clean it, I'm sure.
No, I didn't. There's still glass. I stuck my hand between the seat the other day because my pen fell in there, and I cut my hand open.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we need to
that's
get
what we
this
do.
out.
I don't know, man. I don't know what happens to me. I'm just always getting cut, and I don't even work on stuff anymore. But just on the truck, you just be hitting yourself, and you know,
I can't.
If there's any maintenance to be done,
yeah,
you guys are involved.
Bring
Or my little
shop.
buddy David. No, I'm all about the mobility. I got to have you come to me. That's too much work for me to bring it down there, man. Yeah. Then I got to have somebody follow me, so you could just make one trip.
Look, the last time we worked on it was over in, I guess Eudora.
Sullivan Road.
Yeah, when you broke out.
Right in the middle of the road.
Dropped the drive shaft over there, didn't it?
Yeah, we sure did.
Or airline or something.
Drive shaft.
Traffic blocked.
It was a drive shaft broke.
Yeah, it broke off the yoke off the transmission, and traffic was blocked. And some dude got really mad, if you remember. We're in a place where there should be no cars, period, ever.
On a hill.
And the dude come through, and he's cussing us and screaming at us. And I'm like, just give us a second, you know. And he starts cussing me and just throws it in gear and goes around. Cody comes out from there. David's they're ready to whoop him. And then I was like, it really ain't that big a deal.
Man, if you talk to me with respect, you get it in return. You talk to me like a knucklehead, and I promise
I don't know where the guy was going in such a big hurry.
Every
he didn't come back, though.
Every bit of sensibility I got goes out the window.
And then the county pulled up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, boy, here we go. And I mean, there's no way to get this truck out of the road until we fix it.
No, because then you broke an airline. We couldn't build air pressure.
That was the problem. We backed it up.
And it had a load on it.
Yeah, we had a big load on it. It was 2
or 3 trucks snatching on him and a skid steer pushing.
No, we couldn't do it. And even the homeowner, who is our good friend, Jim Lasapio, that owns a bunch of restaurants. We were in his driveway.
Yeah, Mesquite or something.
In Mesquite Chop House. He owns Junior's down here, and he owns.
Did not know that.
Yeah, he reopened Junior's.
Yeah,
he's doing great with that, by the way. He's got a lot of restaurants, man. He owns what's that place up there at Silo Square? I can't think of it now, but the Lucky Dog.
Place? Yeah.
The Lucky Dog. He owns that. Man, he's got a bunch of stuff. And so anyway, we're in his driveway. And I'm thinking, oh, man, this guy's going to be so mad. And he's like, dude, stuff happens. You know, he's like, do what you got to do. He's real cool. He even had his old Dodge hooked up to me, trying to pull me, you know.
The skid steer that he had rented is what we was over trying to push.
Yeah, we was trying to do it. And it sat there. I mean, we had to wait on some parts, so we wound up getting it up in his driveway and had to wait. But, you know, those were some cold mornings. I remember that. I mean, getting down there, and Cody's like, man, I don't even, this is cold, you know, and this is the first time of the year. It was early December or something. We was, you know.
Messing up my hunting.
God. You were, yeah. So, and now look, before I get off of here, because we are getting time limited, but we were talking about how involved in hunting was. You know, you guys have some pretty cool stuff. Like, I can remember sitting in your truck that night while you were working on my truck, and I was playing with this little gadget you had, which was like
my thermal.
Yeah, your thermal. I'm like, this thing is really cool. How's it work? And I pulled it up.
He
and
got me into that.
So I look out there, and there's a deer. And then he goes, man, you can see a deer poop. You know, like
you sure
can. What you can see with them.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Anything with a heat signature, it's picking it up. I just thought that was so cool because I'm not a hunter, so you know, to me that's like military grade stuff, and that's where it came from, right? So originally is that type of stuff, but I know y'all have scopes that you put on your rifles with that stuff and everything, but
it's a fun
for hog hunting.
It's fun,
by the way, not for deer
coyotes
people.
And everything, bobcats.
Yeah, anything that's like a nocturnal creature that needs, it's a varmint. You know, it's good for that kind of stuff. So coyotes are a big one around here, man, for sure.
They come in handy a lot when we had all them chickens and.
Oh yeah.
Everything was wanting to eat them up.
Yeah, so you guys spend a little money on that stuff, maybe a little more than a little, and it's kind of fun. You don't tell your wives exactly what it costs, do you?
She knows now.
She knows now. I want to say, man, you can get into like $6,000-$7,000 range with some of those scopes. I mean, it gets pretty bad fast. So, but I know you love it, and they know you love it. What's the biggest, like? I know y'all have all killed all kinds of deer. So, like, before we get off here, like, what's your biggest deer?
I got one I can't talk about.
Why?
I do got a 12-point that I killed in Arkansas.
Yeah.
He ain't wide, but he's just fat and hard horn.
Yeah.
But I call it a mountain. They call it heels.
Yeah.
When I first seen him, I thought he was a little basket rack 8-point. I was hunting with a buddy of mine at his grandparents' house. And I said, I'm watching a little spike walk across the hill, and then there's an 8-point behind it scraping. I said, I'm not going to kill him because he's too small.
Yeah.
And then I never killed a deer in Arkansas, and I was like, I'm going to kill that deer in Arkansas. So I shot the deer in Arkansas, and he come out of that little lull he was in over top of the hill mountain. And when he come out, I went, that's a big deer.
Yeah.
That's a big body deer. So, instead of ground shrinking like they normally do when he's this wide, he's this big.
Yeah.
This one went from this big to this big.
Right.
So he grew. He didn't ground shrink.
Yeah, he's just an old dude. Like, maybe it wasn't as quite as big bodied, but he had a heck of a rack.
Oh, no, he was big bodied.
Was he?
He was big. He's probably 300-pound deer.
Oh, my goodness. That's huge.
Which is a really big deer.
Yeah, man. For here, whitetail, that's huge.
He was in a little lull. And
that's like a mule deer weight. That's like northern mule deer.
Oh, yeah.
I got him mounted, and he's my biggest.
Yeah. That's cool. How long ago was that?
About 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Good deal. What about you? What about you, David?
Oh, I've got
last year before last.
I don't even know. I killed a pretty good 8-point. He scored 151 inches, I think.
Yeah.
I've got a 15-point I've killed.
15?
Yeah.
It come over by your house.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. That was called Deer Haven at one time, by the way. I didn't know that. But the people that developed it said that they used to hunt over there. I used to talk to guys, and they said that was called Deer Haven because it runs right off the bluff.
Yeah.
And there's all that water access and then all that good grazing up top.
Where that Mississippi River levee is back there yonder, there's some absolute giants over on the other side of it.
It's because of water access to food. And look, if you ever get a deer off the river, like some of those islands around there, it's the best deer. I mean, they're just different deer than they are up on the highlands.
I want to one day get in a club on the river.
You got to have millions. Like nowadays, that's a $1 million deal. At least a couple 100,000.
I think it was $2.3 million buy-in.
Yeah.
For membership.
Yeah.
Before they closed that out, we bow fished that before.
Yeah. Oh, the carp
fishing. No, before bow fishing even got popular.
Yeah.
We were out there in a 1436 John boat with a spotlight.
Yeah. Just what would you get in carp and stuff?
Man,
carp wasn't even that bad down there then.
They got bad.
They got horrible.
They got way worse.
We would shoot catfish we couldn't kill them for a while, but then we were killing like buffalo and drum.
Yeah, they had a lot of that.
Like
look, they love you to do that. Like if that's what you're doing, the game wardens are like, you can kill all them you won't.
We had an old man that he loved buffalo. And don't get me wrong, I'll eat them too, especially if you know what you're doing, how to cook them. But we asked him, we were like, how many do you want? He's like, I'll take all you got. Well, me and my dad went one night, and this is after we got our big river boat.
Yeah.
And you couldn't see the bottom of the boat for all these fish.
Right.
And they're 40, 50-pound buffalo big
they're
fish.
huge, man.
Big gar.
So 3 o'clock in the morning, I go down to this old man's house, knock on the door, and said, hey, buddy, we got you some fish. Where you want to put them at? Just put them in the floor. I'll get them cleaned up. We had them in his living room floor, his kitchen floor, down his hallway. Now he's laying newspapers and stuff down his room.
It don't matter.
It don't. They were the slimiest, nastiest fish.
Yeah, I was like, man, I would. I don't know.
Yeah, but he wanted them.
Yeah, he wanted every one of them.
I don't know what he's gonna do with them.
He was a teacher at Sacred Heart.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, probably people know him that's listening right now.
Mr. James, I can't even. I don't remember what his last name was, but. I know he's probably still got fish to this day.
He probably after that deal. Yeah, I'm not much on eating I don't even want to eat the catfish out of the river because I know what goes in the river, so I don't even want any of that stuff. You know,
Yeah, they filter it out.
Man, so you say. It's like the pig feet thing we was talking earlier, bro. Like,
You eat fast food?
Yeah, but I mean, it's another thing too. Like I try to limit that too. Man, it's like everything's got some in it these days. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's some monsters out there, man. That is in that lake. I remember just trolling around in our pontoon, and man, them dudes, the big carp, be just flashing out there like, man,
we
huge.
went to push off a log one night.
Yeah.
We was up in the shallows, getting ready to leave out or go do something. Went to push off a log and it swam away. There's a great big old gar laying down there.
Yeah, it's huge, man. Like you just didn't even know. I almost drowned out there one time. My boat got away from the dock. I was telling the sergeant about it, the search and rescue team.
Yeah.
Me and my dad had a pontoon, and we tied it off, and he went to get the truck and we were going to load it up, and it got away from us. And I had to jump in the water, and there was a good current that day. And let me tell you something.
In the river or the Lakeview?
The Lakeview.
Oh.
But it was moving. Yeah. Like the wind was blowing. Yeah.
Water going out, current going back in.
Yeah. And it was taking the boat, and I was trying not to lose the boat because I didn't know, there wasn't nobody around. It was just me and him out there that day. Yeah. And my son, Tyler, he was probably like 12 at the time, man. They thought I was goner, and then you got to get the boat, and you can't climb up on a pontoon, bro. Like it sets out of the water a couple of feet, and so I got
up the back of the motor.
I finally I finally caught the front of it, and so then I was trying to swim and pull it to the. I mean, I literally thought I was a goner, man. Yeah, I really did, man. So, you don't ever want to get in that river.
No. I sank a boat in Archibald Spillway.
I used to tube the river.
Did you really?
Yes.
Well,
my dad had a boat, and we'd go out there at President's Island.
Oh, well, that's a little different.
We'd get out in the river.
We get out on the river.
Yeah.
There's a few people up there, I think, because for whatever reason, you see some jet skis and stuff like that up there around Memphis, up there around President's Island. But yeah,
let me tell you, there's something that I want to do before I die. I want to take a jet ski and go from Maine to Washington
on the ocean.
On the ocean.
Yeah, why?
Just.
It's a dream.
Just to do it.
Because you're crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw a lady that there was an app that used to, I forgot what it was called, but you could Periscope or something. You could just like hit a dot somewhere and there'd be somebody that just be live streaming something right then.
Cool.
And a lady was kayaking from where the Mississippi River started
in Minnesota
and all the way down to the Gulf. And I followed her all the way down.
So she made the whole trip
in a daggum kayak.
Oh my God, that's brave.
Then I got to watching people on jet skis, and they're like, "Oh, we're coming from New York to Miami."
So they're making trips.
Yeah,
like I didn't even know that was a thing.
So that's what I want to do. I want to go from Maine, the tip of Maine, all the way down through the Panama Canal, all the way up to Washington. That's something I want to do.
Oh, so you don't mean D.C. You mean you want to make the loop through the Panama Canal?
Yeah.
Jesus, Cody. I mean, I don't know.
That's something that I want to do.
On a jet ski.
On a jet ski.
All right. Well, you have to be followed by an oil tanker with fuel to make that trip.
You just make there's a bunch of people that actually do it down on the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
And so, I mean, you can come down the Intercoastal Waterway if the ocean gets too bad.
Yeah.
So you hug the shoreline.
Yeah, right. So you're always just able to pull off real quick if you need to get some rest or
That's
whatever.
something
That sounds cool.
They're making it from jet skis in a day and a half from like New York to Miami.
Wow.
It's insane.
Well, you don't have roads to navigate, so you can just hug you just go straight. Yeah.
Would beat you to death.
Oh, yeah.
Choppy water running across there with a jet ski.
But, I mean, when you get older, look, you're already old. Yeah. When you get older, how cool would that be to be like, I've been from Maine to Washington.
On a jet ski.
On a jet ski.
Yeah.
What'd you see? Water.
Washington State. Yeah, I've seen water the whole way. Although it does change the geographic layout, like from coast to coast. Like when you start up north, definitely not as pretty as it is in the southern. I mean, it is pretty in a different way. Yeah, like just. And then when you get on the Pacific side, it's different.
Yeah.
All
deep
that
and
stuff.
cold.
Oh yeah, sharks. Yeah, all that stuff. That's where like the big great whites are. So, no, thank you. Yeah.
Something that I want to do.
Okay. Well, look, man, set a goal.
Yeah.
Get things together, and you're good to go.
I don't know how long it will take to do it or when I'll get the free time to do it, but that's something I want to do.
Yeah, that's right. All right, guys. Well, look, man, we've talked about a lot of crap today. We've had fun. I want to have y'all back on again. We'll do one. See, David, it was easy, wasn't it? It wasn't that bad.
He was scared.
He was a little nervous. Yeah. He thought he was going to bring up some stuff.
This is something that I've always wanted to do.
Man, you can do it anytime you want.
I love podcasting.
Yeah. So now you're a local yokel.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for
Cody
coming on.
needs his own cooking show.
He does. Yeah.
2 favorite things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate you coming on. I thank y'all for being my good friend.
Appreciate you for having us.
Thank y'all for supporting everything I do. You believe in me at times when I even wonder about myself. You're like, Neil, we can fix this. I'm like, I don't know, man. You're like, it's a machine. We can fix it.
It's all nuts and bolts.
That's right.
You just got to keep it that way.
Absolutely. So before we go, I want to say one more time how to reach out. DT's Mobile Services, which is David Tyre, and he works in like all kinds of equipment and stuff. So reach out to him. You can reach him at 901-598-6052. And then you got Mr. Cody Woods, who runs Delta Equipment Repair, and you can reach him at 662-784-9388, and we will have their information in our intro, outro. You can read it on the bios and stuff when we do the show, and you always see us on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple. But we really want to emphasize these guys are great guys. They need some support, so support them back. If you need some work done, they don't work on your lawnmower, just to be clear. But if you got a tractor, David will take care of that.
Lawn tractor.
Yeah, not even a lawn tractor, but like it needs to be a diesel engine or something, you know, like
preferably.
Yeah, it's got some cylinders on it that may need to be repacked or something like that. David's your guy.
He'll do whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it could be lawnmower too. I'm gonna lie to you. He's probably worked on mine, but he ain't coming for that. I can tell you that. So, but of course with Cody, the same thing, man. If you got like a piece of your equipment, you're out there at day cabin or whatever you're doing around here over the road, he does all that stuff. Trailer repair work, they do all that stuff. So reach out to him, support them. They're great guys, local in the community. They give back to our community, and they're focused on helping others as well. And that's always my goal here on this show, is to bring, continue to spotlight people that do good for the community here in North Mississippi, and especially in our county where we live. And thank you guys all for supporting us, continue to watch. I want to thank our primary sponsors again, Roofworks, Hamilton Landscape, Feed My Lambs, of course, remember them. And then from now on, man, just check us out, give us a like, a spot, a share, invite some of your friends to the pages, whatever you can do. I really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.